It is Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. Harrison Graham and Jeffrey Cooperstein. Coop, big game tonight. You got the San Antonio Spurs as Dallas needs to keep stacking some wins here. But let's talk about P.J. Washington, who's been okay offensively with the Mavs. He's been much better defensively, which has been a plus.
And that's why I'm okay with him still playing a lot of minutes, is because he does provide the Mavericks a lot on the defensive end. But on the offensive end, it's been rough going for PJ, man. He just hasn't put up the numbers that he was in Charlotte so far. Just 25% from three is the one that stands out to me, and he gets a lot of open looks. They're just not falling for him right now.
Yeah, and look, I'm not really concerned about the volume. Like, I don't think the Mavs need him to be like a 16, 17-point scorer.
No, I don't either.
It's more about the efficiency. And look, he's not a 40% three-point guy. Like, I don't expect that, but like, he should be mid-30s at least. Like,
35, 36?
Yeah.
I mean, if he's there, he's averaging 13 a game, and that's kind of what he's been in line with his entire career. And it would help the Mavericks offense out tremendously if they could get him going to at least a consistent level, whereas right now, he's just not knocking him down, and it's becoming a concern for the Mavericks here going forward.
Yeah, because there's kind of this thought out there, okay, Luka and Kyrie, they can obviously pretty much average 60-plus every single night, and that's great, but is there a natural third scorer on this team right now? Jason Kidd kind of alluded to this a couple of weeks ago.
Exactly, yeah.
Said we would like to be consistent with a third. Yes, that would make coaching or being a teammate a little bit easier, knowing who's going to be there on a consistent basis. I think PJ is starting to trend that way. But since then, because he did have a nice 3 or 4 game stretch, but he has not played as well recently. So you kind of look at the scoring right now, and again, those Hardaway numbers have kind of just steadily declined. I think at one point he was close to 18 points per game.
Yeah, he was close to 18. He's averaging less than 10 points per game in the month of March, and I think it was right around 10 in February. So he's still the third leading scorer per se, but that is not reflective of how he's playing right now. You made a good point just before we started filming. It's really Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively who are combining to be that third scorer.
And look, it's not the worst thing because, you hop at the box score, you watch these games, and a lot of the time between Gafford and Lively, especially since Gafford's gone back into the starting lineup, which again, I think that was a great move. They're kind of combining to average, 20 to 25 points and 12 to 15 rebounds. And if you're getting that out of your center production, that's pretty good, especially since Luka and Kyrie are going to combine for about 60 every night. It would just be nice if a third just cleaning up around the basket guy would emerge. Someone who is consistently knocking down jumpers or can occasionally give you an isolation basket. And as of late, that has not really been the case for this basketball team.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why that is, because I feel like they're doing a good job of getting guys open looks and getting guys in spots where they can't succeed. Just for one reason or another, they're not falling. That goes for Tim Hardaway. That goes for P.J. Washington. Even for a guy like Derek Jones for a degree. Now, I'm not saying I expect Derek Jones to be some scoring wizard or whatever, but I would like someone to start knocking down some shots at some sort of consistent clip outside of the two guys that we know are going to do that.
That would certainly be nice. What do you guys think? Who ideally should be this team's third scorer? Type W for P.J. Washington, H for Tim Hardaway Jr., or G for Daniel Gafford. You'd prefer it to be one of the top guys because Gafford's going to give you rebounding and shot blocking and screen setting and other things already. If Hardaway's not scoring, he's not giving you much. At least PJ's playing defense. So
yeah, I'd like it to be Hardaway if I'm being honest.
Yeah, even if he's not what he was the first couple months of the year where he was kind of red hot for most of the season, can he just get back to being a 15-point guy consistently? That would be huge for this team, especially if it's going to be in a role where he's coming off the bench.
Yeah, so. if he's playing that 6-man role like he is capable of doing in an efficient manner, it helps this team out so much, and it just gives them another dimension that other teams would have to account for going down the stretch and into the postseason.
Get your votes in, let us know. And also, whether you're a new or existing customer, Prize Picks has some awesome deals for you with March Madness here. Head over to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Thanks to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. Football season's been over for a while, but listen, the action on the hardwood is heating up, whether it's March Madness or a fight for NBA playoff seeding. There's no shortage of high-stakes basketball moments this time of year. Get in on the excitement with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. daily fantasy sports app where you can turn your hoops knowledge into serious cash. That's what I plan on doing with this 2-player entry. They got a deal right now. Caitlin Clark, half a point. Take the more on that, obviously. That's a freebie for you. And then tonight in first 4 action in the NCAA tournament, a little play-in game, Patrick Cartier, this is a demon pick, which means they kind of inflate the more or less projections there, 9.5 points. I get it. Colorado State's playing Virginia, a stifling defense. But Cartier almost averages 11 points per game. So I like the value there. Usually 2-player entries win 3 times your money. In this case, it's over 4 with the Demon selection. And you're already halfway home with Caitlin Clark, who plays on Saturday. 10 to win over $40 is what I put in on this entry. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get a deposit match up to $100. Go take advantage of the Caitlin Clark freebie right now. Get signed up, or if you're an existing customer, go set your entries today. March Madness is here. NBA playoff push time. Get in on the action. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Code CLNS. Get you a deposit match up to $100. Link is in the comments and the description. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. 2 to 6 player entries. Let's freaking go. All right. Stephen A. Smith showing some love to the Dallas Mavericks. Coop, let's see what he had to say here.
Yeah, before I show you the tweet, I kind of want to preface this where Stephen A. was doing some mad hating on the Mavs early in the season, but you know who turned him around, and I want to give credit to him, is Tim Legler. Tim Legler, when the Mavs made their moves at the trade deadline, he's been the Mavs' biggest defender, frankly, on ESPN. So I just wanted to give a shout-out to Mr. Legler.
Shout out Legs. He's I think he's the most underused NBA talent.
I agree.
But here's Stephen A. said that's what Kyrie does, a left-handed floater over Jokic from the free throw line. Kind of more of a sky hook, but that's neither here nor there. To lift the Mavs over the Nuggets, of course, after that epic buzzer beater. And this, after Luka's deep 3 tied it, this is special. Exactly why we should root to see the Mavs advance deep into the playoffs. I know I'm rooting for them to do so. And I think the reason he's saying that is not because he's a fan of the Mavs or anything like that. It's because this team can be fireworks.
Oh, yeah.
They're must-see TV when Luka and Kyrie are firing on all cylinders. So you're seeing more and more people jump on the bandwagon. We saw a lot of praise at the trade deadline when they made the moves that they did. And Coop, other than that bad stretch where they lost 5 out of 6 a couple of weeks ago, since Kyrie's been back and healthy, this team has been playing at a high level.
Yes,
They've gotten some high-profile wins. That win over Denver was huge. And, again, now it's about positioning themselves the best they can for the playoffs and trying to avoid that play-in tournament, which is why this upcoming stretch is huge. Sacramento, we almost got a nice little assist from the Memphis Grizzlies last night.
They tried, man.
But the Kings took them down in overtime, so fell a half game back there. But you got the Spurs back, a couple of games with the Jazz, and then those vital heads-up games against the Kings here in about a week or so.
Yeah, and the Mavs, you said it, with Kyrie and Luka playing together, they have been pretty good this year. They're 25-15 when those two play together in 40 games so far. And I think the notion that this duo will never work out has kind of been dispelled because we've seen it work here in spurts this season. They obviously need to be more consistent, and we need them to be at full health in order to see what it really can be. But I have faith that this duo can go far, man, and I think that if they get matched up in the first round with a team like Minnesota or a team like Oklahoma City, I think they could win a first-round matchup. I'm not going to pick them against the Denver Nuggets because in a 7-game series, those are still the defending champs, and until otherwise, I'm going to pick them. But I think the Mavs can stay with anyone in the West.
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota, OKC, they've been for much of the season the most consistent teams in the West, but they're also not battle-tested. They're not that team. And sure, you could say a lot of this Mavs crop together isn't, but Luka's battle-tested. He guided a team to the conference finals a couple of years ago.
Kyrie.
We know Kyrie's battle-tested as well. Tim Hardaway's been through some playoff battles. I know it's been a tough stretch recently, but if he can wake up a little bit, we know he's been there. Jason Kidd has coached and played in many high-leverage situations. So I would give the Mavs more than a puncher's chance to beat OKC or Minnesota in a best-of-7. And look, Denver would be tough, but we just saw them beat Denver, so it's not completely impossible. I would agree with you. I would lean Denver in that series. But if you ask me to pick one of these teams, Coop, I think I'd pick Oklahoma City because
I think so too.
Minnesota, what makes them tough is, and I guess part of it would depend on if what his status is coming back. If he's out, maybe I'd lean Minnesota over OKC, but They've got 2 legitimate 7-footers, an offensive player in Cat, defensive Rudy Gobert, Anthony Edwards.
Dunk of the year, by the way.
Oh, my God, unbelievable dunk. I mean, they kind of have a recipe that you're looking for with good role players around them, Mike Conley, and so forth. And then the Thunder, not only are they not battle-tested, as good as Shea is, he's not someone who's going to light you up from 3. So
And the game shrinks in the postseason.
Yeah, you got that. And who are his supporting mates that are going to be ready to be high-level contributors in their first playoff series? Someone's going to have to step up.
I really like Jalen Williams. I think he's going to be an awesome player, but we haven't seen him in a high-pressure environment like the postseason.
Chet Holmgren
Obviously,
in a playoff series.
You have Chet, you have Lou Dort. So they have some guys, but like you said, none of them have really been in an environment where they're going to have to really step up in the postseason and be able to score at a high level. So I like the Mavs in that matchup too, and I really think it all depends on if it's the 2-7 or the 3-6, because I think the Thunder are going to end up with the 1 seed. So if the Mavs end up playing the Thunder, that means they're in the play-in, which is not good news.
Well, and if they're the 1 seed too, you can't even be like telling yourself like, oh, we want to play OKC.
Exactly.
Because then you have to lose the first play-in game and put your whole seson on the line.
So let's not do that.
Yeah, so if they're the 1, I mean, you're probably not going to match up with them. At least you're hoping you're not, because it's a little stressful at that point. But we'll see what ends up happening as we move forward. Let us know who you would like to play. We'll be back soon.
Big one tonight.
Tune into the game tonight. Mavs Spurs. You know San Antonio is going to look to play spoiler down the stretch here, especially against Dallas. So that'll be fascinating. Wemby's been unbelievable for most of this season, so it's always going to be fun to watch him. He's Jeffrey Cooperstein. I'm Harrison Graham. Subscribe to the channel for more Mavs content. We'll see you soon.